In 2019, Netflix released an original movie called The Curse of the Sleeping Beauty. Now, this was not based on the fairy tale by the Brothers Grimm or the one by Charles Perrault. There are a few scenes in this movie where the main character uses what seems to be necromantic magic. When the prince, who is her fiancé, dies, she goes and lays on his coffin. She's laying on the coffin. She's connected to him in death. In fact, there's a book called The Bride of the Underworld, which I read recently, and it's much better than this movie. She finds out that her father's ring allows him to manipulate the seasons, which is why the summer court is there to retrieve her. And now she is trying to keep Ash from taking the throne, so that she can rule over all of fairy. Normally, a fairy godmother is supposed to be a good witch who helps out the protagonist. You know, like we're all cursed to die and we don't realize it until it's too late. But honestly, this is a bad metaphor, because if you don't believe in an afterlife, then you have literally experienced everything you will ever experience. And maybe he's not the prince that she's supposed to be with, but at least he won't die because of her, and that's enough for her. I don't know. I feel like the message of this movie is that if you can't have true love, then just settle for something less. Like if you can't have a perfect, healthy relationship, then just settle for dying alone. Yay, great movie. Definitely give it a watch. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. And then you die. And if you believe in an afterlife, then your life on earth is merely a small chapter in your immortal soul's story. And so to say that the princess is cursed to die is not really a good metaphor for the human condition. But here the fairy godmother is evil and curses the princess to die on her 18th birthday. Whenever someone gets close to breaking the curse, something happens to kill them. For example, there's this one god who always appears in the princess's visions. He tells her that she's beautiful, but every time she reaches out to touch him, he fades away. Later, the princess learns that the god was the last person who tried to break the curse, and he got so close that he almost succeeded. But the fairy godmother arrived just in time to stop him. So it's possible that if the princess hadn't gone to the god, he might have broken the curse and lived happily ever after with her. But instead, she kills him. So the curse continues. Now, it's worth noting that this isn't the first time I've seen this trope. In Shrek, Fiona is also cursed by her fairy godmother to die on her 18th birthday, unless a handsome prince kisses her. But in Shrek, the kiss breaks the curse, whereas in The Curse of the Sleeping Beauty, the kiss kills the prince and enrages the princess, who then goes on a rampage, killing everyone in the kingdom except for a few people. The whole premise of this movie is that everyone around the princess dies, and that is why she ages so quickly. The visions she has are her looking back on the life she could have lived, the family she could have had, all the stuff she'll never get to experience because she's cursed to die. The next time we see her, she has a bouquet of flowers, but the flowers are black and the petals fall off as she walks with them. She attends a seance with some creepy-ass old lady, where they contact the spirit of the prince, and she asks him if he remembers her, and he says yes. She cries, and then the spirit leaves. Then she goes home and places a single red rose on the same spot where she laid her head on the coffin before. The next morning, the rose is withered and she puts on the prince's ring. Then she starts having visions of the prince and talks to him, and he tells her that he loves her and wants her to be happy, which is a big slap in the face to everyone else in the movie who has died for her, but rather a strange modern story about a cursed princess who must find true love to break a death curse placed upon her by her fairy godmother. Which is really weird, because like, what would the point even be of the fairy godmother in that case? And how would the princess ever know if she had found true love, if everyone she ever loved was just gone nah die? And if you're enjoying this video, please consider liking it, because I am trying to get to 60,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Now back to necromancy. In The Curse of the Sleeping Beauty, it's not explicitly stated that the princess is using necromancy when she lays on the coffin, but since it's a fantasy movie, we can use our imaginations a little bit and assume that she is doing something otherworldly, especially since later, when she has the vision of the prince, she's not actually there. This movie is the first time that the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale has been used as a jumping-off point for a story involving necromancy and time loops. But getting back to The Curse of the Sleeping Beauty, that movie, the curse that the princess is under was placed on her by her own fairy godmother, which is such a betrayal, and I think this movie was going for a sort of metaphor. Another interesting thing about this movie is that there seems to be some kind of time loop happening. At the end of the movie, the princess finally meets someone who doesn't die when he's around her, a woodcutter. If you liked this video, please please consider liking it. It helps me out a lot, and it lets me know that you enjoy these videos.